This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.
Well, if not for our next guest, I'm not sitting here right now. I'm not working in this town. I'm not talking about the Diamondbacks. I'm not talking about a playoff push. We're not going to Boston. And checking in with Jody Jackson, who back in 2006 delivered a child who is now in college, which is hard to believe, and she had to go on maternity leave, so they needed a fill-in. So I got to fill in for Jody Jackson, and we're both still working in this town. So Jody, how's Boston tonight? Thanks so much for making this happen, that I get to work in Phoenix. It's Jody Jackson Appreciation Day here in the Extra Point.
Well, Boston's great. I think you're giving me a little too much credit. But yeah, that was awesome. And thank you, by the way, for doing that way back when, the start of a great Phoenix career for you here. But I have a feeling you would have still been doing what you're doing here anyway, but it worked out for both of us. Yeah. And we're talking D-backs. We're talking about a great D-backs team now too, Mark. And you and I, back then when we were covering these teams, it went from 01 to then they won, 07, they went back, and then 11, and it just was sporadic. And I think what we're looking at now is a really good team that is sustainable year to year. And that's no disrespect to those other teams, but this is the homegrown, really talented team. And so it's really cool to be talking about it with you. And so thanks for giving me a call here in Boston.
Well, we had to first. Where was dinner tonight? Where were you? Were you out on the streets with Torey Lovello and was Ketel Marte walking around, or is he back in Phoenix somewhere getting the ankle looked at?
Well, that's a good question. He's back in Phoenix, which is a bummer, but he's resting up. I have a feeling that Torey back here in the old stomping grounds with Mike Hazen, I have a feeling there might have been an organizational dinner, and no, I was not part of that. Everyone on their separate ways here. But yeah, actually, Steve Ruthium gave me a little recommendation. I saw him. I was shopping, and I actually saw Steve out there shopping too. Now, he's from here. This is his home area. And I'm blanking on the name. Sansi. The place was called Sansi. I had a terrific dinner. And yeah, and then just kind of the time change is still weird. We've been gone forever. We've been gone a really long time already. It's been Tampa, Miami. So we got in really late last night. We didn't, by the time we got our bags, and I personally did not get to sleep till about 5.
Oh my goodness.
But
wow.
That's only 2 hours. But that's what an off day's for, to reacclimate, to recalibrate.
Well, and you're getting, you gotta have your energy. You're going to Fenway. You've done this for a while, and you do an excellent job sideline reporting, talking to these guys all the time, especially after games where we all want to know what happened. And it's you know what, your post-game interviews with Tori are great because it's just a conversation about the game. And I always learn something about baseball listening to those conversations. So how excited are you?
Thank you.
Oh, it's great stuff. So you have 3 at Fenway, and as a baseball person, as a baseball junkie, how excited are you to get to go to work at Fenway the next couple of days?
Well, I am so excited about it because I actually have not, this is crazy, but I have not worked a Diamondbacks game here. I have been here as a fan, but I haven't really been inside the inner workings of it all and the clubhouses and inside the Green Monster. And so as these young players are doing that, we think they're going to maybe do it prior, or pretty early tomorrow, or, Saturday's an earlier game. It's an afternoon game here. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it will happen. And so we'll be right along. D-backs TV will be right along with them doing that. And I will be doing it. And it's really just awesome. I mean, this city, it's, you think about cathedrals of the game, and this one, I think, what was built in 1911. I was reading today, it cost about $600,000 to build it. And that was 1911, if that's accurate. Hopefully what I read was accurate. And it's kind of like Wrigley, although Boston's a different vibe. Boston, it's just really, it's an awesome city. And it's so new for me. A lot of these cities I've been to many times, but it's just, I can only imagine what the players are thinking about it too. And so you've got the Green Monster. You've got a place that right-handed hitters target to hit homers. If you're going to launch some homers, right field's more difficult. So I'm excited. This is the highest scoring offense in all of baseball, Mark. And it's almost September, and they just put up 10 yesterday in a comeback. So I'm excited for this. I know that offense can come and go, but and what's wild is they don't have Marte and Walker right now, or Moreno, and yet they're still they're still doing this, on a pretty regular basis. So I'm excited for this.
It's exciting, but they're also sort of making me pull my hair out as well. We were saying last night the D&D back stands for drama.
Yeah.
What are we doing with this 6-man pitching rotation? How long do you think this lasts?
Well, this is a real issue. This is something you don't usually see this late in the season. I was, talking with Tori the other day, and all these years of covering baseball, there's a lot of times many teams have a fifth man in the rotation competition and debate coming out of spring. But few teams, and especially this Diamondbacks team, they didn't even have a veteran in the rotation for a couple weeks to a month at one point. And now they have Merrill, they have Gallen, they have Montgomery, Rodriguez, and now you've got Fott and Nelson, who have actually been kind of the backbone of this group. And so it's a really strange situation, and they're going now through it twice. And Torey Lovello said the other day, he said, I don't want to seem like a hypocrite. I know we said we weren't going to do this, but it just makes sense right now. And they want right-handed pitchers in these matchups, to neutralize maybe some of those right-handers. And that is something that you're going to get this weekend with Ryan Nelson and then Gallen and Kelly. So that's how it's lining up. And there's actually three righties going for the Red Sox as well. So, they're just trying to use all their pieces in the right way. But the problem is that Nelson's been so good and Montgomery has not been good. Just being honest, right? I think the ERA is above 6. So
yeah, 6.48 at last check.
Yeah, he's not a bullpen piece. He's not a guy that we don't have any track record of Jordan. And pitchers are creatures of habit. When a guy's younger, you can move him in and out. And Ryan Nelson has been moved in and out, but we all know he doesn't deserve that. But what do you do with Jordan Montgomery is, I think, the question. And so this is what they're dealing with, and they're going to have to face it soon, because you have an off day today, you have an off day Monday, and they're going to have to get this down. I believe they're going to need a long man in that bullpen. So, and you hope they don't need that this weekend, because they don't really have that right now. So, yeah, I mean, luckily the starting pitching has generally been pretty good. And when it hasn't, the offense has lifted them up. So it is really something that you didn't expect to pop up. No one expected Jordan Montgomery to not be effective. This guy's been a pretty good pitcher. His track record is very solid. And this year he has just not been able to be consistent. Put together even a start or two. I mean, there have been a couple starts that have been good, but many of them he has an inning or two where he's just very hittable. And so it is to be determined, Mark. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer, because they don't have to make a decision right now, but we will see something happening next week or in the coming week.
And the Diamondbacks have showed even last year with DFA and Nick Ahmed in the home stretch of the season, they're not afraid to make a move. Would surprise me if there was a DFA situation, especially with all the money that he is owed. But do you feel, I mean, do you, just being there and being on the plane, do you feel the sense of urgency right now with the Diamondbacks?
I do, but it's relaxed. I mean, the kind of cool thing with this team is, and I was actually thinking this last night as we left Miami, a night game, had a night flight up here to Boston, and a place the Diamondbacks haven't been since 2016. These guys get along so well. And actually, they just added Luis Guillorme and Dylan Floro, and I saw them on the plane just kind of like joining the group, and just this group is so cohesive. And they have fun together. It's not like a raucous party or anything, but I don't give away too. But the other day I said something about the plane, and Paul Sewald said to me, "Don't talk about the plane." But there's nothing crazy going on the plane. Just I was talking about the music. But yeah, it's just it is a great group. They have fun. It's not like it's nothing crazy out of hand, but I mean they just get along really well, and it's awesome to see. So when you say urgency, it's not like it's tense or tight, because Mark, you've done what I do now. I mean, you've been in this role. It's such a long season. You can't walk around like that. That's not productive for anyone. Being uptight. but they know how much every game means. And what's incredible to watch is that they have found a way to win a lot of these games. And as bad as Tampa was, where they got swept, to come back and sweep the Marlins, which I know a lot of people think, oh, well, it's the Marlins. But watching that Marlin team, they have some very talented players. I mean, that could have been disaster last night. Justin Martinez was walking a very fine line, and the fact that he has incredible stuff allowed him to get out of it. But Xavier Edwards is one of their great hitters. He placed a pitch in a perfect spot to Xavier Edwards and struck him out. And, you know, even the new kid that they just traded for, Connor Norby, they have Jesus Sanchez. I mean, they have guys who can hit. And, even though the Marlins are a bad team record-wise, the Diamondbacks were able to go in there and win all three, which was huge. So now the trip, it's 3-3. Everything for this trip and the success of it comes down to these next three at Fenway.
Who is the closer right now? Is it Martinez?
It seems to be. He's getting the saves. As much as sometimes it's a little bit, there's sometimes a wild pitch in there. There's sometimes a hit by pitch. First of all, D-backs pitchers right now are hitting guys a lot, and they're not meaning to, but I think they should, that's one thing they need to stop doing. But
you should tell them that tomorrow. First thing you should say in the clubhouse. Hey, guys, I have some suggestions.
Yeah. I know they're not trying to do it. They do they're trying to pitch inside. Everybody is. Everyone tries to do that. But yeah, Justin Martinez has been the guy that's been called upon. And last night, he was called upon for 5 outs. And that's because, again, the bullpen is not anything like what we have seen when this team is, the way that they want to see it with Sewald on the back end, because everything fits into that. And you have Justin Martinez as a multiple inning guy. So, I give Torey Lovullo a lot of credit, and Brent Strom. Those two guys are driving this with the decision making and the analytics that go into it, of course. But Paul Sewald right now is not the guy they're going to for that. And I think it's just too tempting with Justin Martinez with the stuff that he has. If he could just eliminate some of the mistakes and kind of fine-tune the command, it's easy to see where he can be a dominant closer. And that doesn't mean that Paul Sewald won't come back into that role at some point, because the other thing you can do is use Justin Martinez to hit up that toughest part of the order, or whatever you think is the best.
The super reliever. Isn't that what Torey calls it? The super reliever? Is that a thing?
Well, that's the thing. There's a role for guys, hitting. When you look at the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, whatever piece you're going to see that heart of the order or the most dangerous hitter or whatever the difficult matchups are, that's what you have to do. And super reliever, whatever you want to call it, I mean, you could argue, though, in a lot of these lineups, there are multiple spots like that. So, but they have to do a good job. If you think managing in the big leagues is easy, think again, right? Because you have to look at every matchup and see how you're going to patch it together. And with the minimum 3 batter now, which I know that's been around a while now, but for those of us that have been covering baseball a long time, it doesn't make it easy, but it means that nowadays these guys have to be able to get anybody out. So let's just hope that continues here in Boston.
Well, that's what makes all the conversation so good, because I feel like you're able to extract information when I would just be like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And you're just, you're questioning how somebody made decisions, but doing it in a very thoughtful way. So, keep up the good work there. As far as just this team heading forward, do you get the sense that there's more of a confidence this time, from this time last year, just because of the fire they went through in the postseason? Do they have? Todd Walsh kind of talks about this sometimes. That look in their eye. Have you seen the look in the eye for the Diamondbacks?
Well, yeah, I think for me it's about each individual guy, and so but when I am talking to them and looking at them play, it's even more about how they're playing than maybe the look in the eye. But they're confident. They're having fun. Perdomo's a great example. You talk to him, and he hit a 415-foot home run last night, and they needed that home run. I was actually thinking about that just based on, I've been doing a lot of research on the Fenway dimensions, so because that's another interesting matchup with the monster, and then you've got your left-handed hitters having to hit it a pretty long way to right field, but not something that I think it's 380 or something like that. But, these guys, they know they got to the World Series, and they know that it didn't happen by accident. And so now it's these young, talented guys and the veterans they've added, they know they can do it, and so certainly they feel like they can do it again, and they actually have more pitching, and they have more pop, and the offenses, and that's what's crazy is you look at what Marte has done, and how many times this year have I watched Marte win a game with a homer, or start a game with a homer, end a game with a homer, whatever it is. Walker, those guys are not in there right now, and they're still doing it. And it's interesting because we've all, in sports, I'm sure you've seen Moneyball many times. I have as well. It's like Moneyball's about a team that didn't spend money patching it together. This is the team that had spent money, but like on base percentage is a key. They're number one in the league at that. They're number one in the league at just getting on base. And so, and they also rank pretty high in, batting average and homers and these things. Actually, I don't know homers over the whole season, but certainly over the last 2 months. And it's just something that cannot be denied. And when you have that many guys doing it, that's why they've been able to get over these injuries and everything. And it is going to get harder, though, because now you've got the Red Sox, the Mets, and the Dodgers. So, Mark, as much as things are looking pretty good right now, that this is really a fluid situation right now. So, but they're to answer your question, they're a confident group because they know what they did last year, and they weren't even really expected to do that. And so now they kind of know they barely got in. And Brent Strom and I were talking about this the other day. He actually told me this in an interview on camera, and we went through all these things that happened late in the year last year. And he said, if these don't happen, none of that happens last year. None of the postseason things happen. And it's wild to think about that. We all know it's true. But then there's just another team that's like on the rise and building. But that's just the fine line that it is. So now they know that they know they can't chance it on the last day of the season. And so that's what I think we're going to see is the foot on the gas for this last 5.5 weeks. But, anything can, also knowing that anything can happen. But I think this group knows that they can't leave it to chance like that again. And if things go the way they want, they'll be challenging for the division.
Which is crazy. So I'd like to have this conversation at least 4 more times before November 1st. So have so much
Let's
fun.
do it.
Yeah. Okay. I will be, you will be sick of hearing from me. But maybe once live on the air down at Chase Field. Have fun tomorrow. I'm excited. Are you going to be posted on social media your kind of day at Fenway, and do you have all the sideline hits planned?
I am getting there. There's a lot, and to wedge into the game. But right now, actually, I'm going to do a little social media on my little off day today, running around the city. And then
Cool.
Tomorrow, again, inside the Green Monster, all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate you plugging the social media, Mark. I could use a few more Instagram followers.
All right, we'll get everybody in the newsroom here to follow. Okay, so give us the handle real quick just to make sure we have it.
It's at Jody Sports.
Awesome.
That's really random.
I feel like that was your email address or that was your handle like originally when I was filling in for you in 06.
Yeah,
and now
it's been around a while.
And now your son Connor is he playing ball? Is he off and rolling? When's his first game?
He's at Western New Mexico, and they are getting ready for that first game, which is at University of Texas Permian Basin.
Oh,
which is in Odessa.
Yeah, I knew some people from Odessa, man. They were wild. They were crazy. They could stay up all night. Yeah.
Let us know if you guys want to come out to Silver City for a home game in New Mexico. It's only 4.5 hours.
All right. Maybe we'll take the extra point of the show on the road. Hey, well, thanks so much for joining us. Have fun in Boston, and we'll be following along for the ride on television and at Jody Sports.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.